tell you about manga?
Today I'm gonna talk about manga.
Manga is like comic books, but it's a little smaller, thicker, and is in black and white. Plus, you read it this way. It's sort of more like a Japanese version of a comic book.
Manga is Japanese graphic arts. It's kind of like normal American comics, but the style is different.
To me, manga is a Japanese comic book or graphic novel, depending on what you would like to call it. And it's a way to look into Japanese or other cultures.
They can be realistic, but usually the manga figures are not actually proportionally correct. If you were to draw a human, it would be proportionally unsubstantial to being able to draw a manga, because their heads are huge and their eyes are huge, and then their calves and thighs are like extremely long.
Yeah, they usually have
really weird hair.
It's difficult to read for some people, but me, I'm used to it, so I don't really mind. I just read and read forever. If I start with something, like I really want to get the next one. I'm really excited. Sometimes I read 3 books a day, or I even read when I wake up in the night and I can't sleep, so I take my book out and read. I like the style, the pictures, and I like the stories, the characters.
Well, I like to look at the art and stuff, so that's really good. And always a lot of action. I just said that, but that's definitely one of the things. And the style, like, it's always got a lot of pizzazz, so to say.
I like the adventure, the action, twists, the magical powers.
Cool.
A lot of them are all really cool, and I like the storylines and the plots and action and stuff.
I like the action in some of them. Like Dragon Ball Z has a lot of action.
What I like about manga is the life and the book. You see, like, the pictures were alive, and like the action, you really can see the action through the book. That's what I like about manga.
I like manga because it really is a different art style from all the others. I really like stories, but manga, just the way it's told, because the panels are different from American comics. The style, it really differs because it can be childlike and it can just be extreme, and it's just really nice looking at it. It appeals to my eyes, and the storylines are nice, and the emotions that the style shows, it really helps tell the story.
I like that it's a quick read and it's extremely interesting, and the storyline isn't entirely in your head when you read a normal book. You know, you picture it in your head like a movie. They kind of have it played out for you and you have the characters there, and that's kind of nice. You don't have to create everything on your own, and you don't just see blank faces in your head. You see the character.
I feel like you've learned about Japanese culture since you've been reading?
Definitely, because they have Japanese festivals in the manga, and you learn a lot about those, and you learn about Japanese history and their culture and their traditions and all those things.
It's really cool how in some books, like, you're really sad because it ends, but in a lot of manga, it's constantly going and going and going, because they do it in chapters.
Manga also has great, stories. Usually they're sometimes realistic, but then sometimes you just want to dive into the book because they're not realistic. Like, you go to high school where they're wearing mini skirts or leg warmers, and then things happen that would never actually happen. It goes into those things that you don't say, you don't do.
Like what?
In manga books, it's quite common for somebody to be gay. And it's very common for a lot of men to dress like women. And a lot of things that most people don't want to go into out of books. But manga just opens it up and it's like, oh, it's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with it.
I think they're funny and they are really, really, really instructive. There is lesson in them, really good lesson, like never give up.
Oh yeah, I read a few, the X-Men. I really like the X-Men. Wolverine. I read the Hulk, the Avengers, you know, Spider-Man sometimes.
Okay.
Pretty cool.
I do read them really sometimes, but not always. But I read manga the most. I don't read Western book like I read manga. But I do check them out for my sisters because they really like them.
Every now and then I'll read, like, it depends. I mainly just read it for the storyline. If it has a good plot, I'll probably read it.
Most of the time, they're trying to make it funny, but it never turns out very funny. It's all like, this is so boring. Nothing ever. A lot of action happens, maybe some bloodshed, but overall, there's not a good storyline.
I've tried, but I don't get totally into them because, you know, the themes are different and the drawing style is different, and I like manga drawing style more than Western comics.
That's a hard one.
Western comics are usually based on like more of a modern and like realistic setting.
They have different ways of teasing and different ideas of what's funny.
Manga and comic books aren't that different. I mean, in color and in shape, I guess, it's a little different. But I think they're both equally appealing. I sometimes go to the library, most of the time I go to the library because my mom's a librarian, and go check out manga there. It's a pretty good source to get manga, for free that is.
Comic book stores, my house, have like 30 at my house.
I started out with, I got the novels I read, and then a little bit, and then every now and then I would borrow it from the library a long time ago. But lately I've been going online and reading it on like sites like Manga Stream or Manga Reader.
Of course I go online on my iPad to get manga and comic books. They're pretty expensive, the comic books mostly. I can usually read manga for free. When you go on Safari and just type the name of a manga, it just shows some websites and it just shows some websites about reading manga. You just click on it and it just shows a picture of the cover and the picture and an ad of the editor who translates the Japanese.
They have a lot of online sites where you can read manga, and that's usually where I get it from because it's very, very expensive. One volume, which is like 200 pages, is $10, and that's very expensive.
I go to Manga Fox to pick out some manga. I just picked Manga Directory, and it has its own different genre. Like, if I want to watch romance or action, I just click a bubble that says action and romance, and then it just makes a list of all kinds of manga that has romance and action.
Bleach, Naruto, and One Piece.
Mostly Naruto, Bleach, Dragon Ball Z. Awesome.
I like Death Note and Hanakimi, which is great, plus Anima. I'm not sure if I can say this because 666 Satan. I mean, the name is kind of, but I mean, Naruto, they're a bunch.
My favorite manga title is Naruto. I like that book. I like that book a lot because it's really instructive.
So which do you like more?
Manga, of course.
Okay, tell me why.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic.